meeting. I'm going to try to get through this pretty quick. I know everybody's got a lot to do. Our agenda is always one of those things we like to look at and say, well, let's see how we can change it around. So if I can, I believe Senator Dixon has a nice little piece of legislation, the Senate Bill 393. Senator Dixon, why don't you tell us a little bit about what Senate Bill 393 is?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, committee members, I bring Senate Bill 393 before you today. This fall, during a Senate study committee on occupational licensing, many professionals provided testimony on various requirements needed to enter their fields and how those requirements are seen as obstacles in especially high demand fields. The Soil Science Society of Georgia presented to the study committee, and the bill that I've got before you today includes the recommendations on certification changes. A soil classifier conducts soil and site investigations, prepares soil reports for on-site sewage systems or septic tanks, which many of us are aware of in the state of Georgia. There's a need to increase the number of professionals performing these critical tasks that often sometimes is the first step in developing a piece of property. Current law requires soil classifiers to get a 4-year degree, and it also requires them to get 4 years of experience after they've obtained that degree. This one change, a simple change starting on line 51 through 68, the only change is it changes when they can get that experience. They still need to get the 4 years of required experience. The only thing it changes is they would be able to get 2 years of that experience while they're getting their 4-year degree. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions from the committee? I think my vice chairman has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Dixon, good afternoon. In sections 50 through 53 of the bill, where it's describing experience, would you suggest that being a member of the legislature qualifies you in dealing with manure? And if so, could you describe the technicalities of that?
Great question, Mr. Vice Chair. Take me a minute to answer that question, but when I'm not in the legislature, I fancy myself as a dirt man. Do a lot of horizontal work, not vertical work, so acquisition development of new home communities. So I've had quite a bit of experience with sewage, sewer systems, and septic systems, so somewhat qualifies me, but have not had the 4-year degree.
Senator, you want to answer that question? Okay. Well, Senator Watson has a question first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a serious question. So would these be people that do like perk tests on soil? Is that what we're kind of talking about?
Yes, sir.
Allowing more people to do perk tests?
That is correct. Yeah, there's a serious shortage in the state. I believe there's maybe about 120 people currently licensed, or back in 2020 there were that many, and there were 1,800 septic system permits requested statewide. Okay. So definitely a high demand
Good
field.
deal. Yeah, definitely a need for more people that can do this. Thank you for bringing the bill.
Senator said, as I understand it, we all want to try to work toward more affordable housing, and this will help in that regard. And I believe our minority leader has a question, so you're number 2.
No, it's 12.
Okay, well, I got you.
Well, okay. So the question was, did he believe that the senator was qualified to answer a question on manure, which we could probably give another name like crap? And I would say that if you're a politician, all of us are qualified to determine whether it's crap or not.
Well said, Madam Leader.
Is there a motion? Senator Watson has a motion do pass. Is there a second? There's a second from Senator Steele. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. I believe it's unanimous. Congratulations, Senator. Should they move forward with your crap?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members.
Our agenda's pretty easy today, so we don't have a whole lot of choices on the next one, but I believe Representative Steve Saines has got a little bill that he's been working on all summer. Hopefully he's got it perfected for us. We should have in our packets, if we look, there's one of these things that, I don't know if I should do this or not, but I'm going to quote the Representative Saines, what he told me last night. He said, this is one bill in particular. I sure am glad that the Senate perfected it and made it a lot better, because it's a lot better now than it ever has been. So, I didn't even see him at dinner. It was before. So, Steve, if you would please, or Representative Saines, if you would please tell us a little bit about the bill, kind of where it was and where it is today. If you need any help along the way, we can help you with perfection.
I appreciate it, Mr. Chairman. I will add to it that my Lenten goal will be reduce my use of wine and beer, and I won't speak to my mindset at that time, but Lent hasn't begun yet. So with that in mind, I do appreciate this committee's looking of the legislation. You can see by the numbers of the pages in this bill, it's gone from 30-something, 35 pages of good legislation down to 16 pages of perfect legislation. So what this will do is increase Georgia businesses, Georgia enterprises' ability to access private capital through a low-interest loan structure noted as CPACE. The committee had vetted it and wisely cautioned on creating an additional form of government that both could complicate and burden communities that didn't want to create an additional authority, additional code section within the legislation. So this will give the same powers that we discussed last year through the Development Authority Code section. It again would require a local government and all applicable entities to still authorize it through Tax Assessors Association to ensure that they're part of that intergovernmental agreement. We do have individuals primed and ready to speak on the technicalities if that's so the pleasure of the chair and the committee, but I think it's a pretty solid modification to a good policy initiative.
Representative Saines, because this is a good economic development bill for the state, and I will tell you, for me, many of y'all know I've chaired the Economic Development and Tourism Committee in years past. I've been involved with local governments. When it came across from the House, it actually was going to create a new development authority for every city and every county in the state. And I'm not one of those big government guys, and I dang sure didn't want to create over 700 new development authorities. And I worked with Representative Saines and some of the folks that were pushing the bill to hey, let's see what we can do to work with existing development authorities. We have plenty of them in the state. Everywhere in the state's covered. I took it to the Georgia Economic Developers Association. I took it to the GATO, the Georgia Association of Tax Officials. And I said, look, all these people need to be a part of it. And some of the things that we did was, just like Representative Saines said, we eliminated the duplication of more development authorities. The tax officials are a member of the contract, and there will be a contract. But just in a nutshell, what this allows is another tool in the toolbox for economic development in the state. I'll give you an example of one place that's been used. If you ever stayed in Macon, Georgia, Hotel 45 was an old office building built back in the 20s. They used this to go in there and do weatherization, the building envelope, lighting, those kind of things, heating and air, energy efficiency things. To improve that facility, but they did it with a kind of a guaranteed payback on a tax lien, said they own the property. So you get a better favorable interest rate. It helps with any type of commercial industrial property, and I think you'll see in your packet, there's a letter from the Georgia Hotel Association. Somebody here from the Georgia Hotel Association?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Said although I'm not on a speaking term with Jay because he stole one of my former coworkers, we will let you come to the table and address if you want to. Said what bad things you've done. You go ahead and confess your sins.
I'm Baptist, I'm not Catholic.
He may be burned at the cross too in just a minute.
Peace be with you, Senator, and I do beg the forgiveness of the chairman. Yes, sir. We are very much in support here today. Just so I think everybody at this table knows and respects the fact that the tourism industry has a tremendous impact here in Georgia. But we're constantly looking for ways to improve that footprint, particularly out in the state. And this bill would certainly improve those chances. So, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I believe there's a letter in the folder from the association about our hopes, for this legislation, what it would do for the hospitality industry. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and again, I beg your forgiveness.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Said I don't know if there's other questions from the committee. We can talk about this as long as you want to. I think that you've got some other folks that, Mr. Ray, would you want to come and address anything with our group? That being said, Senator Steele, you have a question?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Representative Saines. Question from the previous version that we had. I'm just not seeing it in this one, but one of the questions that had come up previously was in which place the lender would be in terms of a lien holder. Are they going to be first or second? And I see Mr. Ray nodding his head back there. So
My understanding, they still remain the first lien holder, and they have veto power if they prefer that their lender does not utilize CPACE. Is that an accurate reflection of the current bill? Do you want to know exactly where that is codified?
I mean, if you know where it's at, I just want to make sure that we had addressed that at some point.
We do have George Ray and Aaron Cross with one of the major capital providers that have been helpful in restructuring this legislation. I'm happy to have them speak at your pleasure.
If you want to use that as a save, we can let you do that.
If needed, but we're still looking.
I will also note that when I took it to GEDA back in the summer, one of the things that I believe was the Economic Development Director from Twiggs County brought up that she was working a project from a company out of South Carolina, and she said, there's numerous states around that have this. I believe it was 30, maybe 31 in the country that have it, but we didn't, and it kind of made our tool bag look like we didn't have all the tools. And this does help with some competitive things on economic development. I believe you're looking at
Line 367 is where the voices behind my head are telling me to go.
Don't let them point you the wrong direction.
Has the same D subsection 2 has the same priority status as a lien for ad valorem taxes levied by the participating local government. that answer your question? Thank you.
Yes, sir. Senator Mello, I think it might be.
Oh,
you.
there we go. Number 10. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a question. Representative Saines, as you know, I'm extremely supportive of CPACE financing, but I do want to just clarify when we talk about CPACE financing, this will not be like most development deals where you will receive a bond for title transaction, right? That this is going to still pay some ad valorem taxes and some other things. So if you're back wondering in your local district, will this take the property out of the tax digest or whatever, it will not do that. But I would like to get the author to just speak to that, because I know one of the concerns for many constituents will be when you talk about bond for title deals, will be that development authority taking it out of the digest, so to speak, to basically exchange that bond for title. Could you just speak to that and clarify that in this? So I know when you talk about a revenue bond and development authority world, and this would mean two totally different things. I just want to make sure that's clear.
I appreciate the question. I know my friend from the coast is equally excited about the bill, given that it also adds to the resilience of our communities when our local businesses face unburdening natural resource disasters. This also gives another avenue and mechanism to get low interest private capital infused in both current projects, current buildings, but also new ones. But you're correct, and I'll let my friend here give the details that this, though utilizes the public property tax structure, it is 100% private capital, and all costs incurred in administrating it from each entity can be assessed as a fee within that structure. And of course, we're creating equity within those properties that can then be assessed at the value of that property for the taxes. Would you like to add, Mr. Claus?
And Mr. Chairman, Aaron Cross from Nuveen, we're a national lender. That's exactly correct. We're not impacting and say, I would like this, and it's private capital, it's not government money, and it doesn't impact that general tax.
Would be real good for a lot of the hotel industry in Savannah, Georgia, I believe.
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman. I worked with the author and several of the folks on the team talking about CPACE financing. We are a coastal community. We're probably second to Atlanta in tourism for our state, and tourism in the city of Savannah benefits every rural community because they just don't come to Savannah. They will take a day trip, and maybe they go to Scriven County, maybe they go to Effingham County or Bullock County, and that traffic that we drive benefits other communities. But folks got to have a place to stay, and I also want to keep it affordable for local residents to be able to stay at a hotel, but the cost to upgrade a hotel is so high that you got to get the money from somewhere. So this creates an opportunity, Mr. Chairman, and at the appropriate time, I'd move do pass.
Are there any other questions from the members of the committee? You're in the proper time there, Senator.
Mr. Chairman, I move do pass.
And a motion from Senator Mallow, a second from Senator Williams. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. I believe it's unanimous again. Since this is a House bill, do you have somebody picked out to carry it in the Senate?
Well, we have two. We had an amazing senator that helped me with the original bill, and an equally amazing chairman that helped me with the revision. So I would leave it to the pleasure of the committee whether which two of them would be more.
I don't have any idea which one you're talking about. What you want?
My understanding, Mr. Chairman, is you might be considering carrying the bill.
I'll be glad to if you want me to.
All right, as long as my words didn't upset you too much yesterday, I just want to make sure.
We'll try to get you there. Do pass by substitute on LC 500665 ERS. Make sure everybody's on the same page. So thank you. You're good.
Thank you.
They appreciate your time today. I believe we're done.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned.